great. So give me the book on Zach Wilson. Like him, not. What are your eyes? What does your experience tells you?
Well, I like him, but I don't like him as much as everyone else apparently does. I gave him a 6.5. Hopefully my grades will be out soon on NFL.com, but 6.5 is a boom bust grade. And I think he's a guy that when you see the arm talent, you like the arm talent, you like his ability to improvise and throw on the move and create some things. It's clear when you watch him that Aaron Rodgers was his favorite quarterback growing up, and that's true. But, the guy that I see, and he hates this, but the guy that I see, and this is not a slam, is I see some Johnny Manziel in his game. And what I mean by that is he likes for plays to go off schedule sometimes because he feels unencumbered when it goes off schedule. Now, can he work on schedule? Absolutely. But when you go back and look at 2019 tape, there's some really problematic decision-making going on. There's some throws that he absolutely shouldn't make. And then you go back and look at this year's tape, and yeah, he clearly improved. However, I would also point out that his level of competition was much lower. And when he faced the most competitive team that he saw last year, which was Coastal Carolina, that's where he struggled. So I'm not as all in. And you mentioned Josh Allen. Allen had special size, athletic ability, and a crazy arm. I don't think Zach Wilson has those same characteristics, to be honest with you.
Okay, the kid that I can't get over, and I said I've watched one tape of him. The Trey Lance kid at North Dakota State, he looks like Kyle Pitts at tight end. That kid just looks like he's going to be a Hall of Famer. Trey Lance, you watch his tape, and you're like, oh, my God. Mel Kiper said it was the most fascinating prospect he's seen in 40 years. What do you make of him?
It's interesting because I remember watching, obviously, Carson Wentz when he came out. And the first thing that stood out to me was that North Dakota State ran kind of a pro-style passing attack, and Carson Wentz was a full-field reader. Then I get to Trey Lance, and it's deja vu. Here's a big quarterback who's athletic, more athletic than Carson Wentz was. He's got, a solid arm. It's not a huge arm, but he's got a solid arm. But I'm telling you what now, his size and athletic talent gives them a chance to do some things, whoever picks him up. And I think he's a perfect scheme fit for Kyle Shanahan, like something that, San Francisco does, because that's what I see him doing with North Dakota State. But let me tell you what's really impressive about him, Colin. They ask him to set his own protections. There are seniors in college football that don't get that opportunity. They demand it at North Dakota State. They demand that he looks at personnel groupings of the opponents, blitz packages, 2-minute drills, red zones. By the time that he gets to his Friday cut-ups that he has to create, he's as prepared as any NFL quarterback is for their competition. Now you throw in the physical traits that you talked about. That's why he's the most intriguing quarterback, frankly, in this entire draft.
Okay, so let's talk Philadelphia. Last year they took Jalen Hurts second round, and I'm hearing stories now all of a sudden Philadelphia is going to go get another quarterback, and my takeaway is timeout. So you're telling me the second draft, your second pick last year, you had a lot of needs. Right. You don't think he's a franchise guy? You're not going to give him like 10 starts? What is Jalen Hurts? Is he a franchise guy? What do you see you like, don't like?
I thought he was a really good backup and a low-end starter. I thought that's the grade I gave him last year. My guess is you're going to see something similar from the Eagles now when they take a look at it. But what they have to decide now, because Doug Peterson, the guy who pulled him out of the game, is no longer there. So now they have to figure out, do we take one more year and determine what and who Jalen Hurts is as a quarterback, which realistically you should do since he was a second-round quarterback and you liked him enough to take him behind a quarterback that you already had in place. And if that's the case, if that's how you believe in Jalen Hurts, let's let it play out. However, how often are the Eagles going to be drafting sixth? And if you're not sure about your quarterback, then we've seen time and time again. We saw with the Arizona Cardinals with Josh Rosen. If you're not sure anymore, you better get sure. And if they're not sure on Hurts and they really like 3 quarterbacks in this draft and one of them is at 6, you might as well pull the trigger, because if you don't think you can win with Jalen Hurts, you may not get another chance to draft 6 again anytime soon.
All right, the Jets announced, Joe Douglas has said now, we'll take calls on Sam Darnold. He's officially said it. Over the weekend there was this, we're intrigued with Zach Wilson, which is putting the house up for sale, but you're not telling them which house, the 2-pick or the Darnold house. Today he said, we're putting Sam up for sale. Where are you at today on him? Because he regressed at the end of last year.
Yeah, so I was a big fan of Sam Darnold's. I had a grade of over a 7.0, which I thought, I had a chance to be a Pro Bowler. I still love the intangibles. I love the toughness. There's a lot of things I like about Sam Darnold. I remember watching a game against the Colts where he made this incredible, escapability type of play extending outside the pocket touchdown throw. But the fact is, I don't know who Sam Darnold is anymore. He hasn't had great protection. He hasn't had wide receivers to throw to. That hasn't been his fault. But if he's been impacted by that, if he's not going to be the same quarterback he was coming out, that's a big problem. And you may not get that back out of him. Can he continue to look down the field and find guys when there's a little bit of pressure? I was here in Houston when David Carr was here, and David Carr left a much different quarterback than he came in. And that's my concern right now, Colin, with Sam Darnold. I'm still on board with Sam Darnold as a guy you don't want to give up on just yet, at least for another team. But I can't sit here and tell you with a lot of confidence that he's the same guy I thought he was when he came in.
Finally, J.J. Watt. I still think he's a good player. Did Arizona reach? They were fourth in sacks last year, so it's not like he's going to change the defense. What do you make of J.J. Watt at this point in his career?
I think J.J. is a guy who will bring a level of energy to the locker room. He'll bring an energy on the field, and he's going to be somebody that the fans absolutely love. He's here for everything. He loves being a star. He loves interacting with fans. What I'm not sure he can still do is get after the quarterback in one-on-one situations against good tackles. He can pressure the pocket still, which is going to be good for Arizona. But they're paying him money, to me, that looks like a guy that you expect to get in there and get to the 8 or 9 sack range. And I'm not sure that he's still that guy. But for Arizona, if they can just if they can pressure the pocket with JJ and become a little disruptive with their run defense as well, that might be all they're looking for. It's just a 2-year commitment. And I do think he's great for the culture in Arizona as well.
By the way, one more question, a Houston question. You have great contacts there. Mm-hmm. Labor Day weekend, where does Deshaun Watson play? Is it Houston?
Houston. There's so much money that's owed to him. Is he going to give back the $27 million they gave him to be their quarterback with the next contract? They're going to take a cap hit when they lose Deshaun Watson. Are people going to be able to give them fair value for a player of that talent? And when you look at the money they've already given him as a signing bonus, is anyone going to kick back money for that? No, I think Nick Caserio is dead serious about playing hardball with Deshaun Watson, and I don't think the Texans blink first.
Lance Zierlein, check him out, NFL.com. He does as good a job as anybody out there, and I love seeing you, buddy. Good talking to you, and congrats on all your success.
I appreciate it. Looking forward to it again.
Yeah, his dad was an offensive line coach in the NFL for years, and he didn't want to do that coaching thing. I've known a lot of guys in football. They love football. They don't want to do that coaching thing. Now, your brother is doing the high school coaching thing.
Yeah, he didn't want to do the coaching thing when he first retired. But then my nephews were playing flag football when he first retired, and then they started playing tackle football. And, when you're a Hall of Fame player and somebody gives, not saying this happened, but, you want to coach your kids. You hear it a lot of time. Guys are like, yeah, I heard one bad piece of advice given to my son. And then they're like, no, like, I will coach you. So he loves it now, and he loves working with the kids. So. And he's at St. Thomas Aquinas, which is the best.
That's a big football power in Florida.
Yeah, they won the state championship last year and the national championship the year before that.
Yeah.
And now my nephew's going to Arizona. So
I know that. Jed Fish, my buddy. That's exciting. Jed's a good dude.
It actually made me feel cool. Every once in a while, I get like a cool auntie note. Because when he committed to Arizona, I was like, oh, we just had your coach on. We just had Jeff Fish on like 2 days ago. And he was like, yeah, he told me he was on your show.
Now, what position does your...
He plays safety.
Good.
And then his younger brother, Mason, plays tight end.
Now, what year's he in?
He's going to be a senior next year.
Okay, so he'll get recruited.
He's getting recruited everywhere.
God, what a feeling that would be to be recruited. Wouldn't it?
It's fun. It's cool. I got recruited for track and soccer.
Did you really?
Yeah.
And like people give you bags of money and stuff?
Did not give me back. No, I'm not changing. Nobody's giving me money. No, but you go, on recruiting trips and
they suck up to you.
Yeah.
Yeah,
that's cool.
Love that. He's just so nice. I don't get any of that at home.
You never got recruited anywhere, Colin?
Nope.
They didn't throw any bags of money at you, Colin?
Even Fox, I just walked in, they didn't know who I was. I just started talking, they put me on the air. All right, hour